What's up, guys, and welcome to the Untitled Rant Show. I am JellyKnees, and this week I'm going to be talking about wards and why you should use them.
Hey, it's Raevan, and I'll be talking about ranked game modes and why, if it has voice chat, why aren't you using it?
Oh, very nice. And I'm the Mangoose, and I'm going to be talking about the term TryHards.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. But, I mean, I'll get it kicked off here. Wards in MOBAs, in almost anything that has the ward mechanic, and people that don't use them drive me absolutely bonkers. Or even, not even people that won't use them to get vision on your enemy, right? That's the purpose of it. To get information and make coordinated plays around that information. There are people, I'm not going to name any names, but I know one of you is watching this, that refuse, and I mean actively refuse, to use wards in these games.
Oh my god.
Because they don't like the mechanic. I will fight you in real life.
No way. Not even the games where you have like free wards?
Not even in the games where you have free wards.
Did they look up as like a crutch? Like you shouldn't depend on wards or something?
They just hate wards as a mechanic. That if you should be relying on vision, then they should just increase your vision so you don't have to worry about it. And every time they mention it, I'm like, I'm ready to go off, like keyboard warrior, ready to be like, no, like that is not.
That's such a bold claim.
Oh my god. Oh man.
Oh my god.
They know they're in the minority, at least, right? They don't think that they're like part of the majority in this opinion, but it's rough. So what do you guys think about wards?
It's one of those things that separates the men from the boys, man. It's a game in and of itself, knowing how to properly ward and good ward placement and counter warding and de-warding. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole part of the MOBA. Like it needs to be there. Like what?
Yeah,
it's
like,
not just a small piece. It's a huge chunk of the foundation of a MOBA.
Yes.
Vision. That's what's number one. Vision. You know, like for example, like in League, you know, you have your stealth ward, which is free, and then you can buy control wards, which use 75 gold, a whole lot. But the stealth wards are invisible, so you can place them wherever the hell you want. And I see so many people, at least in bot lane, they'll keep putting it in the little bush there in the river instead of walking up a few extra feet and putting it deeper in the river, so that you can see the jungler come even earlier than when they actually get in the bush. Control wards are different because you got to kind of hide them in bushes. You can't just put them out in the open because they're visible, but.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, it's 2 free wards unless you switch to a far side. Just use them.
It doesn't make any sense to me why you wouldn't want advanced information, right?
Is this someone who also complains about getting ganked a lot?
I'm sure that that's a thing, because that was my next point exactly. Is then it's always the people that complain about not having enough wards or not warding, or how it's someone else's job to ward.
Well, why is my support not warding?
Exactly. Those are the ones that get ganked 500 times and then go, oh, my jungler sucks, better jungle wins. So they relate to me. They're the same thing as last week to this week, same problem. Like, but yeah, warding is not optional. It is mandatory, and your team will win more games the more wards you place. I guarantee you.
Oh yeah. That back when I did that show Casting Call where I would do like low elo and high elo games. You could tell immediately. You could just fast forward 5 minutes into a replay and tell which elo you were at. If it was a high elo, wards fucking everywhere like a goddamn Christmas tree. Low elo,
all over the map.
Maybe one ward, and it was the guy that actually submitted the game, and they did really well, you know, because they were warding.
Absolutely. Even
huge part of the game. Like I would not. I don't know. I don't understand that one at all.
The other thing is, if you're scared of placing a ward badly, still place it. Don't not place a ward because you're worried it's in a bad spot. Still place the ward because some vision is better than none. Like
it's free information. You put it down, and whether it's bad or not, like someone's gonna see that. Even if it's your off laner, they're gonna see that, and then maybe they can communicate that to you if you don't see it. Because I don't know. I ward and I still get ganked, and then I'm like, well, where did he come from? I'm so like tunnel visioned in on my team that I don't even see him coming around the corner.
But like
someone else is gonna see it.
As a jungler, right? If I see on the opposite side of the map, the enemy jungler pops up on one of our wards, that to me signals okay, I'm free to do anything I want on this side without repercussions from him directly for a certain amount of time. That's huge information to have just by seeing him across the map. Like that's all it takes to get huge leads and build leads over the course of a game off of one ward. It's nuts to me.
You don't just need them early game either. You need them through the entire game to
100%.
You need to place them on objectives and everything, so you know if the enemy team is going to be doing like, what do you call it in League? The Dragon or something?
Dragon, yeah, Baron, either way.
Or Prime, as I know it as, like real men that played Paragon.
You say that like neither of us played Paragon, but okay.
Gorilla.
But the thing that gets me in fault, because they have the fog walls like directly into the side lanes, is when somebody will just place a ward directly on the other side of that fog wall. Like, bro, by the time that ward sees anybody, they're already on top of it. That ward does nothing. It's like, I know you said, if you're afraid of placing a ward badly, place it anyway. Yeah, true, place it anyway, but a bad placement is still a bad placement.
Mangoose is like, if you put a bad ward down, I'm gonna flame you for it. that's a stupid ward. Take that back.
People for it, but I tell people at Fault all the time, like, hey, that ward placement isn't actually doing anything for us. Next time when your ward is up, can you please put that a little further in? You know, which is how also how you should approach situations with tact. Don't just be like,
you're the worst
and you're shit. Fuck you. Get out of here. That's how
guy doesn't even know how to ward. What a trash support. Like, no, that's not the way to do it. But like, there's a game that of predecessor that Mangoose and I talk about a lot. That I was able to counter jungle basically the entire game for free without any repercussions, and it's just because Mangoose would place wards in their jungle, and I could go in knowing exactly where they are and farm around them without them being able to do anything to me. Like that's all it takes. You don't need to get a kill. You don't need to do any of that. You can just counter farm jungle with wards, and that's still effective.
One ward will get you a lot of kills.
But that too. Like there's so many things that wards help you do in these games. Not warding is a bad thing.
In that game, their support wasn't warding. And usually I keep that second ward in case they de-ward me and I can throw another one down and then de-ward them. Since their support wasn't de-warding, I would throw the one ward down and then I would go deep into their jungle, throw the next one down. And like I was able to do that the entire game. And we had a crazy lead because every time their jungler came to gank, we knew that they were coming. And they never saw Jelly coming when he came to gank, so...
Yep.
Yeah, wards definitely made the difference there. Wards always make the difference.
Yeah, you know who you are if you don't like wards and refuse to ward.
Buying wards themselves.
Could be like a solo queue thing too. Maybe people who like going alone don't really like care for it because they know they can't like communicate with their team. But again, to me that just seems stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, solo queue you should be buying wards.
Yeah.
So,
Truly.
Even more. You can't rely on anyone. Oh man.
Yeah, it's nutty. And I feel like that topic we could go on for a long time.
Yeah, we could.
Because it leads into the one thing and then goes into another.
Absolutely.
Just game mechanics in general, yeah.
So, I know MOBAs don't have game chat. I know, obviously, Paragon didn't, League doesn't. League has team chat, but that's if you're in a party with people and you don't want to go in Discord or something. Smite doesn't have it either. Those are the ones that really played. Well, you take it now, you could take away from MOBAs, you go to like Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege where you have in-game communication, or even like Call of Duty. Like, Call of Duty like 66, like Search and Destroy. Like that's even a big thing too. But the main ones I'm talking about like Valorant and Siege, because I played a lot of that. So for Rainbow Six Siege, I've been playing it since 2015. I went from PlayStation for a lot of years and then PC for the last couple, like 2. Ranked mode in that is so easy to communicate in. It used to be worse, but they actually made it a lot better. It's still really bad though. So people who don't use their mics, you can ping in Seed. So before you were able to just kind of like, you had to hold down a button and it would scan someone and then it would hard ping them. So, and then that person, it would, on that person's screen, it would say you got scanned. And then they would look for the camera and they shoot the camera and now you don't have intel. Now they changed it so that wherever your cursor is or your crosshair, even if you're dead and you're on a camera, you can just hit the ping button and it'll ping them. So now there's a character, Valkyrie, who throws up cameras, so she can put them wherever. And those, if you scan on, obviously people look for them and they destroy them. But now if you just ping them, they don't see it, and then that's perfect, like they're there. But then you have, if no one's talking, everyone's just pinging. So now I'm hearing ping, ping, ping. And I see 1 ping, 2 ping, 3 ping, hard ping over here. Now I'm like, guys, just literally, you have the cameras, just talk to me. And because I'm in so many situations lately, because I started playing again, where it's like a 1v3, and my cameras are up because I play Valkyrie, and I'm not getting communication. I'm just getting scans, pings, like, help me out. Like, just use, you could talk to me or you're dead. And even when you die, you see where the guy killed you. In Valorant, you don't. So that's kind of rough. But in Siege, you literally see where the guy killed you. So you can say, oh, he was like over here. And then you can see like what they see. So if there's someone else next to him, you can be like, oh, that guy's over there too. And then you can look at Valorant, and it's the same sort of thing. Like, if no one's talking, it's like all of a sudden, boom, the guy dies over on A site. Okay, well, like what happened? Who was over there? What gun they have? Well, you can see what gun, but or like pushing at site, like, oh, the guy pushing me. Or if you're trying to push together and trade in a game, I mean, even Siege, you could trade too. So like, one guy will go in and they'll just die, and I'm like, you could have like told me you were going in. I could have peeked with you or something. There's no way he can kill both of us, even if it's, especially if it's two different angles. Like, I'm over here and you're over there. Then it's easy. Then we can trade and it's an easy kill. But no, people just like, oh, you didn't get him, dude. Bro, one time, no one was communicating. I'm in a 1v4 situation. I think it was Valorant, and I lost. And I think it came down to 1v1. I lost. This guy comes on the mic and goes, yo, dude, why didn't you win? I'm like, yeah, sorry, my fault, not 1v4ing, and no one talking to me about where they're at.
That's the thing. Like, it goes both ways too. There's not using communication to your advantage, and then there's only using it for salty purposes, right? Like, like in League of Legends, the ping system, not listening when people tell you to like back up or there's danger here. You run face first and you die. But then the second somebody else does that, you flame ping them and just spam it 500 times. It's like, okay,
I do it all the time.
Use it to be helpful, not hurtful. Like, come on, man, please.
I think that's what drives people away from using voice comms in games like that when voice comms are available, is they're afraid of the toxicity. But from what I've found is whenever you're in voice comms with people, you humanize each other a little bit more. So the toxicity isn't nearly as bad as if you're just typing to some random entity. When you actually hear their voice and you're interacting with them, I find that people communicate a hell of a lot better. So
yeah, I would definitely say that that's the case. You're
rolling the dice because you can always get those people that are just straight up toxic. Like, again, in Siege, it happens a lot. I think this has happened a lot lately. Where it's just like the guy doesn't do one comm the whole game, picks the one operator, does shit with them. So then I picked it because I didn't want him to keep doing it and not doing anything. And then as soon as we spawn into the round, the guy shoots me. And he goes, yeah, dude, that's what you get. I was like, are you serious? Like, you could have said anything at any point, but no, you just killed me. He's like, yeah, like, whatever, bro. I'm just having fun. I'm like, okay, that's fun to you? Sure. But, I mean, again, that's rolling the dice. So,
yeah.
But, yeah, if you can talk, people are like, I don't have a mic. Sorry. You don't have, like, mics are probably like $20 for, like, a cheap-ass mic. Like, you just get one.
Even if you don't have a mic, just get into voice chat so you can at least hear what people are saying.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep. My favorite voice chat story ever is I played Overwatch since like the beta. I don't play it anymore. Once the game actually released, I didn't play it anymore. But I remember we were playing a game and McCree came behind us and fucking deleted most of our team with his ultimate.
It's high noon.
It was maybe 3 minutes later. This girl, and we were all in voice chat except for our support. She comes in, she's like, how did you guys not see that McCree coming? Just like, it was like 3 minutes later. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, what? She's like, the McCree ultimate that killed everybody. How did you guys not see him behind us? I was like, well, if you saw him behind us, why didn't you say anything?
Yeah.
She goes, well, I didn't have my mic plugged in. I was like, well, why didn't you have your mic plugged in? She's like, well, I didn't want to plug in my mic. I was like, wait, so you waited for 3 minutes, went and hooked up your microphone and joined voice comms just to flame us for something that happened 3 minutes ago. I was like, shut the fuck up, and muted her.
That's so absurd.
Like that blew my mind that she walked away from the game, set her microphone up so that she could get in voice comms to tell us about. Oh my god,
dude!
She could have been in voice comms the whole time and said, "Hey, there's a McCree behind us," and then everybody would have fucking scattered.
Yep.
I was playing a game of Valorant and we're doing fine, right? And this guy, I was playing Viper again, and the guy's like, "Yo, do you know any lineups?" And that's like the little Molotov, whatever thing you shoot off, and you could sit in a spot. So if you plant and then you shoot, like arc it some crazy bounces and it'll land right on the spike if they're trying to defuse it. It's like halfway through the game, like I already told the guy, like I don't really know lineups, and halfway through the game we start like losing. We go down like 4-12, so they only need to win one more. And he's like, yeah, well, if you and no one else was like, everyone else was fine on comms. And this guy, all of a sudden he goes, yeah, well, if you knew more lineups, you'd probably be doing better at the Viper. You probably shouldn't play that character anymore. I was like, okay, immediately mute him. And then I was like, your comms are useless. Don't need to hear them. And I kept everyone else, and it was fine. And we won the game. We came back. Look at that.
That's the other thing. If somebody's tilting, right, whether it be you or somebody else on your team or whatever, just mute them.
Mute them.
Just mute them.
It's not worth the brain
100%
power.
You're not going to say anything that's going to change their mind. You're not going to do anything that's going to change their mind. Just mute them, save yourself the tilt, and hopefully win the game off of it, rather than try and put up with it any longer than you have to.
I have a buddy, and I guess it's just the way how he thinks it, but if that situation starts happening, he'll then mute himself instead of the person, because he sees it as if he mutes the person, that guy wins. In some psychological scenario, I'm like, dude, no, just mute him
weird.
and keep talking to us, and then boom, it's like he's not there. He's like, yeah, but he still plays. Oh, who cares? You can't hear him. You're fine.
As long as you don't respond in kind, because that's what toxicity is when somebody, so it spreads to somebody else. Once you start reacting to them and interacting with them in a negative manner, then you've become part of the problem, which is very hard not to do sometimes. I definitely give in from time to time when people say something just so atrociously stupid.
So stupid, you have to be like, you're stupid. I gotta point it out.
Like, no, wait.
The thing that gets me about those kind of people too, is that if you rise to defend the person on your team, like, no, they're not intentionally feeding, they're just having a bad game, then the immediate response is, oh, they're duo, they're together. Like, there's no reason you're defending him otherwise. Like, it's like, what? Like, it's so ridiculous to go to those lengths.
100%.
Yeah, we could go on again for that, but up to you, Mangoose. What do you got?
Solid. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be talking TryHards, more about the term TryHards than actual TryHards, because it's a confusing term for me, because I consider myself to be a nice, positive gamer, but I also consider myself to be trying hard at every game that I play. But people use the term TryHards in such a negative manner. And I think what they're really referring to is people that, when you have obviously outclassed your opponent when they're very new, but you still just fucking lay it to them and play like you're in a professional league and you're playing for money or something, and just completely ruining this person's experience of the game. I think that's what they're really referring to when they say TryHards. But I think they need to change that term. I think that terminology needs to change, because, like I said, even if I'm losing, winning, whatever, I'm trying my hardest at the game. Like the only time I'm not trying my hardest is if I do find myself in that situation where I'm Mike Tyson up against Glass Jaw Joe that has never fucking handled a fucking keyboard in their life. You know, maybe I can get that kill. I just kind of leave them alone, back up a little bit. I might even let them kill me once or twice, just for shits and giggles, so they have some fun. But you don't need to, like. I think the best example I saw of this, a sub sent me this. It was a small clip of a video of one of their first experiences with Fault, and it was like an all tester team against them, and they were positioned outside the fountain. Like, their entire team was inside the fountain. They could have taken the core and won the game, but instead they were all just camping the spawn in a MOBA and just killing anybody that came out, and killing people and seeing if they could kill people while they were in the fountain. Like, that's tryharding. That's trying way too hard. Just in the game and put the people out of their misery. I mean, I have a lot to say about surrendering. I'll bring that up probably in a later episode on down the road. But, like, that's a situation where the one team probably should have surrendered. But I don't know. That's what I think tryharding is. But yeah, I really think the term needs to be changed. Just assholes. Just call them assholes. Don't call them tryhards anymore. Because I'm not an asshole, but I try hard.
And I would say the same thing, right? Is that between the term tryhard and the term sweaty, calling people sweaty is very, I think, similar in that regard.
Yeah, same thing.
But I would consider myself a person that tries hard at these games, right? If I'm playing ranked or something, or I'm actively trying to increase my own skill level and just account, like my registered skill level on my account, yeah, I'm gonna try hard, right? Like, why would I go into a game memeing and just kind of not really wanting to win, not playing my hardest, not playing my best, but get called a tryhard for doing so? Like, it's a weird thing to balance to strike there. But I completely agree with you.
I used to use that term a lot back on PlayStation, but I still kind of use it today. number one, I was gonna say is the found situation you were describing earlier. I wouldn't necessarily call it try hard on my, like, personally. I would just say that's toxic. Like, if you can end the game, like, just fucking end the game. Like, you're doing nothing other than being an asshole. With the term try hard, the times I use it are usually when I'm in a non-ranked situation and there's someone on the other team that's clearly not in the same skill level as like the team I'm playing with, and they're like going hard and they're like they're doing way too much for the team. Basically, like, they're doing everything. That I'm like, all right, dude, like it's unrated. Like, you're trying so hard. Like, why? Like, just have fun with it, you know? Maybe that is them having fun, but again, the term try hard then goes based off like a skill, like a personal skill level. Yeah, I think in that case.
Yeah, and what I was saying earlier about, like, sometimes don't try as hard and just, like, let them mess around. I'm not, like, that's kind of doing them a disservice too. Like, don't just
Don't just run it down. Yeah. But, like, there's a line to it, right? That
there's a fine.
You can definitely cross to going too far one way or the other.
But they need to learn, but they're not going to learn. It's like I was talking about Mike Tyson glass jaw. If you want to learn how to box, you box somebody that's slightly better than you. They're going to win, but you're going to learn how to box. You go into the ring against Tyson and get knocked out with one punch, and you don't even see where the fuck that punch came from. You're not going to learn shit about boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. Like you said, you try your hardest, and I try my hardest too. But again, it's like a skill thing. So maybe your hardest is different than someone else's hardest.
Yeah.
Now we're just talking about getting hard. I don't know.
Okay, let's take that tangent over.
You good on that topic? Yeah. Right.
I'm good on that topic. You guys want to talk about some of the comments from the last episode?
Let's do it.
Yeah, what we got?
We've got Jarrett Davis. That was I think he felt JellyKnees pain a little bit. He says, I started playing jungle in Smite after Paragon died, and the struggle is so real. Laners really go 1 in 10 and expect the jungler to just babysit them for the rest of the game. My friends and I have a running joke about how Smite players literally always blame the jungler for anything that goes wrong. We could be winning the game while I'm 7-1 and helping duo take a tower, and the mid laner will die in a 1v1 and then blame me like I'm not getting real objective work done, getting us closer to winning, no matter what the situation is. It is always the jungler's fault. Always trash jungle, even when you're the only one doing anything good. Also, a lot of lanes don't realize that junglers have a rotation, so we can't gank duo lane at 3 minutes when my rotation is all the way on the other side of the map. It's more flexible later in the game, but leaving the rotation early just gets us behind.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jelly, I'll give you the first response.
I can't agree enough with that statement across the board. Everything, the you're doing things, you're getting towers or some other big objective somewhere else. Somebody dies in a 1v1, guaranteed jungler's fault, right? Like 100%. I feel that deep in my core throughout the whole thing. So kudos, because dealing with that is no fun, and I don't wish it upon any single person. And the amount of people that actually sent me better jungle wins last week after last week's episode was tilting in and of itself. The first person did it, and I didn't like kind of realize what they were doing. Right, I was just like, better jungle wins in a DM. I was like, weird. Okay. And then like 3 a.m, it occurred to me. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, going like, better jungle wins. These people. I know it now. I get it. Oh my god.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it's tough jungling in Smite too, because I tried doing it as well when I first started playing. But you're so tight on rotations. Like, you gotta be here, then you're over here. So it's like when the gank comes, like, that's it. And then you gotta move on.
Yep.
You can't just like try to come and re-gank like League. You can, but this is like you really have to be in your spots because there's so many buffs in other camps.
When I think about Legacy Paragon, there's a lot of that. You're locked in your rotation. If you're not on those harvesters at the right moment, you're wasting time. If you're not, you get like a 1 minute window where if you have the chance to gank, that's when you do it. Otherwise, you have to go back around and keep clearing your camps and getting harvesters. And in Paragon, that was a huge thing that people, it's like, okay, I'm getting the harvester. Why aren't you ganking for me? Dude, this is beneficial for all of us. Like,
bro,
chill
I'm
out.
standing still. Give me like 10 seconds and then I can move.
Yeah, I definitely had that tight not legacy, but monolith Paragon. I definitely had that tight jungle rotation down to where I would always be clearing that last camp closest to mid lane while getting my third ability up, and then getting the river buff, and then rotating the gank mid lane. Like at 3 minutes, I was right there in mid lane every single time. And usually if I would hear a Gideon just popping off with rocks and all kinds of shit, I would know that he hadn't unlocked his escape yet. And I'd be like, it's dinner time.
All over now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, great point from Jared Davis, especially about the rotations, I think.
What else we got,
Then,
Mangoose?
we got Jaffa Gunner. Nothing worse for me than Smurf accounts going in, ruining everyone's time that's new to the game just to feed their own ego. And that kind of feeds into what I was talking about earlier with that fault thing, where people were just keeping the other team into their fountain. I mean, I think Smurfing is like a topic in and of itself that we could probably go on for freaking ever. It's a product of the free to play environment where you can just create as many accounts as you can create email accounts. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys got to say about Smurfing?
I think for Smurfing, for me, it falls into two categories, right? If somebody at a that plays at a typically high level, right, whatever the highest rank is in whatever game you're playing, creates a new account, there's going to be a moment where they are playing people significantly below their skill level, right? But eventually, if their intent is to get that account up to the same level, I'm more okay with it. In a regard of that, their intent is not just to go feed their ego on worse players.
Right.
There is a point where they're going to have to play against worse players to get their account up to that same point. If you're making a Smurf account just to play against lower players, you're a horrible person, and I have no sympathy for you.
That's kind of like with the TryHard thing, right? How I was saying, like, there's that one person who just goes like really well, and it's like you should be here. It happens in ranked as well, but at that point, I just say, okay, he's Smurfing or something. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's trying hard, but yeah, it seems absurd. Interesting though, I read a tweet today from do you guys know that Slasher guy on Twitter, Rob Breslow? Yeah, big esports guy. This is from Dota 2, or I guess Valve or whatever. Starting today, Smurfing will be a bannable offense. We will primarily focus on new accounts created after today, for which we have high confidence in their Smurfing and game ruining behavior. Moreover, we will also occasionally manually ban old pre-existing accounts that are clearly game ruining. If you are found to be selling accounts, boosting, or engaged in similar game ruining behaviors, your primary account may also be subject to a ban. To go along with this, we've recently increased our ban rate for boosters and purchased accounts. That's awesome. I think that should be addressed properly in other games as well.
I wonder what kind of algorithm they're going to use to see, like, if somebody goes fucking 25-0 and
some kind of stat lines, probably. Yeah,
it's got to like pick up on something kind of like, okay, that's
or IP tracking. Here. Yeah, they flag your IP, and then if your IP shows up on two different accounts, they compare the levels.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
But the other thing, I think that's a very good stance that Dota and Valve is taking for their regard. Something that League did that I think is also valuable is that if you are playing ranked and you're dominating every game you're in, like just 25-0 every game, several games in a row, they'll just skip you ranks. They won't make you climb through each individual rank all the way up. They'll just be like, okay, you're performing at a platinum level, and just jump you most of the way there. So they're carefully watching and seeing the consistency. And then if they jump you too high, then you'll just lose a bunch of games and fall back down to where you're supposed to be. But they try to limit the capability of Smurfs in lower elos as much as possible without coming out right and saying it's a bannable offense.
Mud was making fun of me, but my Siege account right now, which is the only one I play, I'm a gold player. I like to think I'm plat because I definitely am. I can be, but personal performance aside, whatever, like teammates, it's roll the dice when playing solo queue. But I'm still kind of getting like high amounts of points. So like as soon as I placed, I was getting 100 or like 110 minus for a loss. And that basically takes me up or down a whole rank. So I'm still kind of at that point, but I fell all the way down to fucking bronze 1. And now I'm back at silver 5. Like that's just what I guess, the nature of the beast right now. But
that's wild.
I know I play the game really well, but I can't play 5 other characters at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a little solo rant I could get into, but
Yeah, I feel like each of these is its own topic. We could go on for quite some time.
Right. I totally agree with Jaffa Gunner too, with the where he's talking about to feed their own ego. I think a lot of times people hit a plateau. Like if they're a gold player, they think they're platinum. Like somebody I know.
Wait a minute.
They get pissed off that they can't actually break into platinum, so they make a Smurf account and just start beating up other people.
It's similar to in a lot of speedrunning stuff that which I'm a fan of. They say that the people at the top of the leaderboard are more likely to cheat than the people at the bottom of the leaderboard because they feel like they're better than they are and need that advantage in order to become that better than they are.
The skill is so tight at that level.
Yeah.
So it's hard to improve.
And so that I think the same logic kind of applies to Smurfing, that if a platinum player goes like, well, I'm actually supposed to be diamond, so they make a second account and just absolutely destroy bronze players. They're like, see, this is why I'm supposed to be diamond. It's like, no, that's not the same thing.
And yes, I was just fucking with Raven earlier. He's not saying that he.
Hey, I got the proof, man. I used to be plat diamond in certain games.
Thank you for coming to watch the Untitled Rant. If you, don't judge me. Thanks for coming to the Untitled Rant. If you have a idea for a title, let us know in the comments down below. I am JellyKnees. Guys, anything to plug this week for your own channels?
Raevan GG. There you go.
I've done a couple of
I hate you people.
Hit the mic too.
All right, guys.
Your camera's been fucked up this whole time.
Good.
And like over here.
It's just my curtain that makes it look that way.
Oh, okay.
But that's it for us. I don't know how to end this, so I'm just going to do the jelly guns, and that's going to be the end.
It's ladies' night, and the feeling's right. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. Oh, what a night.
You'll be happy to know that I've been recording this.
Me too.